I'm going to make this very simple. What stands here in front of you is a man that does not fear Brock Lesnar. And though I hate to admit this, I'm incapable of fearing him because I am far, far too envious of Brock Lesnar. You see, I want everything Brock Lesnar has, and I want to take it from him. I want Brock Lesnar's gilded schedule, where he's not forced to come out here week after week in front of you ungrateful masses. No, he can come in, he can beat people down and leave as he pleases. I want Brock Lesnar's ability to instill fear in other men at his behest. You know what? I want Paul Heyman. I want him to be my advocate. I want him to negotiate my contracts. And I want him to run my errands. But most importantly, and more than anything else in the world, I want Brock Lesnar's Universal Championship. At Great Balls of Fire, I will be standing in this ring. I will be staring him in the eye, walking him down, and I will take the Universal Championship from Brock Lesnar.
Skills and vocabulary too. Cover hits in the disc edition is all brand new. You're through. I'm interplanetary like Doctor Who. So who?
Fuck your beat, no relief. I step on stage, girls scream like I'm Keith.
What's up, everybody? Ring Time Pro Wrestling is back at it again. Keith is riding solo one more time. 2 shows, 2 days. Here we are. This time we are here to talk Wrestlemania. The big daddy of them all. The biggest event in pro wrestling. Established in New York City, 1985. This event was supposed to be the mega event of all events. A lot of people thought it wouldn't last back then. They thought it was a circus. They thought it was a spectacle. They thought the celebrity involvement watered down the show. They thought the WWF was a cartoon show at the time. All these years later, they're the last one standing. The only company that was successful in understanding how to pull off pay-per-views over and over again, well, except for WCW before their demise. But at the end of the day, this is what they do. This is what Vince McMahon does. WrestleMania is on par with all the major sporting events that happen every year. Daytona 500, Super Bowl, Final Four, you name it, World Series. This is what it is. This is where people who don't even watch wrestling come to watch wrestling. This is where people who haven't watched wrestling all year want to know what's going down with WrestleMania. This is the bookend of the calendar for professional wrestling as a whole. I think that's safe to say. The year starts over after this weekend. The WWE invades New Orleans this week. They have been in town all week doing various things. Last night was the Hall of Fame. Tonight, NXT TakeOver. Sunday, WrestleMania. Monday's Raw. Tuesday, SmackDown. Like, they're not leaving. So, settle in. It's going to be interesting. We're going to give a full breakdown of this show. Recently, the WWE put out something that, the WrestleMania records, which I think is very, very interesting. They tell you who won the most matches. They tell you who lost the most matches. I found it interesting that I think Kane is on both lists. And Triple H. I think Triple H is also on both lists. But of course, we know who's at the top of the wins list. That is The Undertaker with 23. We'll see how that goes. At the top of the list for most losses, I think it was like Triple H. But yeah, Undertaker has he actually has the most matches in WrestleMania history. So Undertaker has 25 WrestleMania matches. I think he has the longest streak of consecutive appearances at WrestleManias with like 17. Just understand this. That guy is the greatest performer in the history of WrestleMania. Hands down. I'm not taking away anything from guys like Hulk Hogan, who I think with Hogan is interesting because he is Mr. WrestleMania to start this thing off, right? WrestleMania 1, he's the main event with Mr. T. WrestleMania 2, main event with King Kong Bundy defending the title. WrestleMania 3, main event with Andre. That changes the business. WrestleMania 4, he doesn't make the main event because he doesn't main event the tournament, but the tickets are sold based on him and Andre facing off again, and that's where we are. WrestleMania 5, the Mega Powers. WrestleMania 6, Hogan versus Warrior, title for title. It's the match where he puts Warrior over. WrestleMania 7, Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter for the world title because he got to get the revenge for America. WrestleMania 8, Hogan does not main event 8. It is Flair versus Savage. But it was supposed to be Flair Hogan, and they couldn't figure it out. So Hogan wrestling like Sid Vicious. WrestleMania 9. That's funny because it's Bret Hart and Yokozuna, but Hogan gets his way into the main event. So yeah, that's the first run of WrestleManias. So I would be remiss not to say that this thing is built on the back of Hulk Hogan. So without further ado, I'm going to get this thing rocking and rolling. We're going to go down the list. We're going to talk about each match. And there are 13 matches slated right now. 3 of those are listed for pre-show. That's the respective Battle Royals and the Cruiserweight title match. The regular show is slated for 4 hours, 7 to 11. With the pre-show being 2 hours, 5 to 7. Now, if we have learned anything from last year I think WrestleMania went like 6 hours. Because it was 7 or 11 was the main show, but it went to it like 11:45. I would tell you this year, like I said last year, the year before, I ain't got it in me. This thing is going to require daps. This thing is going to require rewatches. I would love to be able to do a recap show on Monday, but I will not be able to do it. And so after we do the recap show later in the week, because hell, I have to figure out the matches that I missed. I got to figure out. I mean, staying up all night is rough, man. I'm getting old. I'm near 40. I can't be up all night doing this. And the WWE just jamming stuff in. But that being said, we are going to preview this show. We're going to give you an in-depth breakdown of each match and tell you who should be a winner and where that goes. Alright. So, let's start Andre Giant Memorial Battle Royal. We're doing it for the trophy. This year, Who do we have coming in? I don't know who wins this. It's a weird event because I don't know who gains anything from winning it. Looking at the participants and the names and just going down the list and looking at the guys who won in the past, it's kind of hard to glean anything. If I would do anything, Kane would win this one. And I'm going to tell you why. Kane has never won a Royal Rumble. Kane has like a lot of the major Royal Rumble records. But he just never won it. I think Glenn Jacobs has been an incredible performer for the WWE. I think he has stepped into a role that most people, you wouldn't be able to last as that character, right? It's kind of like analogous to the character he's connected to most is the Undertaker, right? In theory, the Undertaker is like a 3-year character. You run it, you do it, and then you take the guy and you transition to something else. Undertaker made that an institution. Followed that with connection Kane. Kane is something that you probably run for a couple of years and then you're done. This has been going on for 20 plus years. And it is hard because you have put a man in a position where he was connected to followed by one of the greatest of all time, and he stepped up and handled it. And he has a Hall of Fame career out of it. So I think this would be just a good honor to associate and give to Kane. So that's why I'm picking Kane. No real reason behind it or nothing like that. The women's battle royal, which I think is going to be interesting. Sasha Banks will be in this women's battle royal. And why is this important? Sasha Banks may have been in every single important women's match that has ever happened. And what I mean by that, she has been in the first ever of like Iron Woman match, Women's Hell in a Cell, Elimination Chamber, Royal Rumble. It's a long list. I mean, everything that they've done since the women's revolution has taken place, Sasha Banks has been all over it. Do I think she wins this? Nah. She's a good MVP. Her and Bayley have an interesting story. I think they both cost each other the match. I'm going to ascribe this to try to give it to an up-and-comer. I think the winner may not be anybody who's listed in the match listing. Because they have like Naomi, they got Becky Lynch, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville. I think the winner could be Shayna Baszler. Or Ember Moon. I think one of those two might take it. Because they're not listed, but you're going to need 20 women. And I think you're going to pull from NXT. And I think you do this as a launching pad. And you put that person on the main roster after this. So that's what I'm going to do with that. Cruiserweight title. Not a lot to say about this one, because if Cedric Alexander don't win, I ain't going to say we going to riot. But then we go make a stink about it. Because that guy has done everything to be Cruiserweight champ, and probably should be at this point. That's all. Like, it's a long and a short of it. Like, I think that guy probably should be Cruiserweight champion. He had to sit through Enzo, and the funny thing about sitting through Enzo was Enzo got himself in trouble being stupid, and that delayed my man's gratification. So, to make it meaningful and not just give him anything, they figured out something. So, proud of it. can't wait to see it. But I think that guy's going to win tonight. The way I got it listed, SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. The Usos will defend their belts against the New Day and the Bldgeon Brothers. Now, nice story leading up to this event. Usos have been probably hands down the best tag team in the world over the past year and a half, right? They vanquished all comers. They beat everybody that you can beat within their organization. Like this is one of those teams you would want to see in a cross-promotional kind of thing. And I think it would work with them because they have a style that's physical enough, and their legacy says they can bring it. So, like in a tournament with ROH and New Japan and whoever else you got, I'll keep the Usos at the top right now. So, they bringing back their old friends, the New Day. The New Day is in an interesting position because they're trying to get back to their glory. They're a babyface team with a 3-man advantage, which that's like being a one-legged man. You don't have anything, right? Because you can't use that advantage. The Bldgeon Brothers. I'm glad Harper and Rowan, they found something for them. They haven't given up on them. Them two as a tag team, I see them working the Wyatt family. This thing, I think, works a little bit better for them. I think these guys are talented. I think the idea of them just being big bullies is interesting. And I'm going to do with this what I did with Shayna Baszler last night. I'm going to go Bldgeon Brothers. I'm going to say the big bad bullies win this. And then it's going to take a conquering team to deal with the big bad bullies. Next match. I'm already up to match number 4. All right, 5. All right. Keith, rocking and rolling. The Intercontinental Championship match. The Miz will take on Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. This one is probably going to be one of the better matches of the evening. Why? Because there was an article done about Miz calling him the MVP. It was about former reality star being the MVP. I've got to finish reading it. I don't disagree. Like, the promo work that this dude has done over the past year and a half or so has been amazing. Rockstar attached to him. It's a reason why the WWE believes in him. It's a reason why him and his wife are getting a spin-off show from Total Divas, which was only done for the Bellas prior. This guy can carry a lot for them. He does a lot. He's their go-to guy when it's time to make a movie. I mean, he essentially has been WWE Films for a while. He took over the Marine franchise, which, okay, quintessentially, John Cena is the Marine. And I mean that in, like, all seriousness. Like, that guy, like, when you see the character, you see the movie, it's like, alright, I'm back. Like, yeah, okay. Knowing John Cena's background, I know he wasn't in the Marines, but hey, man, you don't exactly get that from watching a movie, right? So, yeah, there's that. But Miz, who comes in after Ted DiBiase, does a pretty decent performance. Takes it and runs 3 through 6. Like, he's that took over the franchise. Santa's little helper wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but he was there. Like, the dude has held up the movie franchise. So, say that to say, what's next for Miz? I think he's going to drop the belt here at WrestleMania. Even though he's trying to hold on, and they may let him hold on to take one, like the longest reigning IC champion of all time. But I can see him stopping short. The thing is, with the promo work that Miz does, Miz can stop short. See, he's the guy you can stop short on this. Because afterwards, he's going to come back, cut a promo, and say It was a travesty of justice. He's still the real champ and still going to be counting his days. So, that'll work for Miz. So, if I'm choosing between Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, I think Finn... I can't say anything bad about either one of them. I can't tell you either one would be a bad choice. I don't know what they want to do with Finn Balor. Is the question. Rollins, I think winning the belt would be great, and you have him as Monday Night Rollins, and that's what it is. He's the guy. He will be the workhorse that title has always been associated with, and he can carry that water very well. Now, you can put Finn in the mix. I don't think it hurts anything, but with Finn, the indecisiveness on Finn Balor, I associate also with the indecisiveness on Gallows and Anderson. Like, they could take off with this company. They could have the faction if they want to. If they don't want to have a faction, they could do a lot. But they got to figure something out. I can see Rollins holding on, though. I can see Finn end up on SmackDown after all of this is over. Like, when this thing shakes up, I think you can shake out if you put Finn on SmackDown. And oh my God, with the guys that's over there. Now I figured like somebody's gonna come to Raw, but with the guys that they got over there, it can get interesting quick. So Seth Rollins will take the IC title. That's what I'm gonna say. Now on to the Raw Women's title. Nia Jax will challenge Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's title. For those of you not familiar with the story, best friends. And I mean that like in real life. Got a lot of Instagram clips to prove it. Best friends. Bliss may be the best heel in WWE. And that's saying a lot. Like, she gets on the mic and works after the Miz. And she is absolutely despicable. She does things. I give her credit because she embraces not being liked in a way that I think not too many people can do. She goes out there and she runs her mouth and she does her thing, and you like, oh, this is uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, that's what you're doing. You like, whew. I can't believe that she actually said that. But yeah. After she like shattered everybody's dreams on after Elimination Chamber, I was like, you got it. So yeah, shout out to Alexa Bliss. It's gonna be interesting. But I think Nia Jax wins this, right? Like, it's a great story. I think Nia has went through the fire to get here, and there, if you gonna have her take all them losses to Asuka and all that, I hope you got something for this young lady. That's all. That's all. I hope you got something for her, cause like, she took a unnecessary amount of losses over and over again. Why? Y'all don't know. Y'all have no real idea. But y'all sent her out there every week to take that beating and come close, but no cigar. Y'all put Asuka over. And I mean, don't get me wrong, that's the right move. But you probably wanted to protect her after a while. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, Nia definitely should beat Alexa Bliss. For no other reason than she deserves it. And then it challenges Alexa. How does she get back? What can she do? What can she do to get back? So that's another idea. So let's go keep going down the line, because we are about 30 minutes in. But you know, we still got a show to do. Randy Orton. Randy will be defending that United States Championship against Bobby Roode, Jinder Mahal, and Rusev. Now, I'm elated that they put Rusev in this match because they should have. He should have been there a long time. They should have found a way to work that out. But they waited, but they got it together. Bobby and Randy, I think, have a very interesting feud. And their feud is set for people who can appreciate 1980s wrestling. Jinder. Jinder is an interesting heel who you wonder what's the next step for him. And then there's Rusev. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to tell you Rusev should win this match. And why? Because it's Rusev Day. This guy probably is going to be champ sometime later on this year. World champ. WWE champion. But for right now, United States Championship, I think, is very sufficient. I think it's a good launching pad. I think, once again, it's somebody you can pay back for being in a bunch of matches that he shouldn't have been in where he was going to lose because that was stupid. But shout out to Rusev. I think he takes the United States title. And I think he's a dominating United States champion. This would be his second run with the belt. First on Raw, now on SmackDown. So, let's see where it goes. Charlotte Flair will take on Asuka for the SmackDown Women's title. Now, this is probably one of the biggest matches in the history of women's wrestling. I think Charlotte Flair has established herself to be the best. Right? I think that's fair. I think championship accomplishments have proven that. I think the in-ring work has proven that. The big matches on the big stages has proven that. And now she runs against a buzzsaw. A defeated buzzsaw. Somebody who's put 2 years on not losing a match within the company. I say they're not ready to break the streak. I don't think you break Asuka's streak at WrestleMania. I think you rat her off as she celebrates. Charlotte will struggle to figure out what to do next. But she'll come back and she'll challenge back for the belt. Now, the rematch, I don't know what happens. And maybe Charlotte has like 3 unsuccessful rematches. And then they move her to Raw. I think that's very possible. Like, I think this could be Charlotte's last run on SmackDown. And she always struck me more of a Raw person. Like, when they was doing the brand split, and they switched people up, I thought Sasha was going SmackDown. So, when Charlotte left the main stage, it's like, I don't know what y'all doing over here. But she's, I think she'll be back at Raw after this. I think it'll be a good match. I think it'll be one of the top 3 matches of the evening. Because I think both of them really want to get this over. And both of them really believe they're in the upper echelon of what this thing that they do. So, that's that. Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey versus Stephanie McMahon and Triple H. They didn't spend all that money on Ronda Rousey for her to come and lose her first match. Like, the idea is to build the monster. She's going to come in and win the first match. What happens after that, I don't know. Does Kurt remain GM of SmackDown? I mean, Raw? I don't know. Like, how all that lands out, I don't know. But I do know Ronda Rousey is not losing her first match. And now, there's a possibility that Kurt, they said that where Kurt does something stupid and he cost him the match. Like, I can see that. And then Ronda can't stand Kurt, and then there's tension there going forward. But Ronda Rousey's not losing that first match. And I don't think they're going to have, I think they're going to have her celebrate in the ring. Side note, Dana White is supposed to be at WrestleMania. That sounds so interesting to me. And the relationship that this thing had, for all accounts, him and Vince McMahon have a good relationship. I think Dana White wanted Shane to come work at the UFC for a while back, but he didn't want to, come between him and Vince. I think, let's see, Dana being there, I think it's with the relationship, Brock Lesnar, the rumors, Ronda being in WWE now, and then CM Punk, like it's just this whole intertwined relationship, right? So, just interesting. But next match, while we doing authority figure matches, Daniel Bryan, Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Now, I was ready to just get this match back to Daniel Bryan. Why? Because he's Daniel Bryan and he's back. Like, a guy has been out of the ring for 3 years. We've had other things that we've done for him or things like that, but he is not been a wrestler for 3 years. He's back. And it's just not just any guy. He was the biggest star in the business. He altered the course of the business. They did not intend on him being at the main event of WrestleMania 30 3 or 4 months prior to WrestleMania 30. They didn't even put him in a Royal Rumble match that year, right? Fans love this guy so much and believe this guy so much, they hijacked every single WWE event until he was moved to where they wanted him to be. And they had no choice. This is a guy who still they pop for, even though they haven't seen him wrestle in about 2 or 3 years. Right? Like, people just love this man. So, can he lose his first match back? Interesting, because Sammy and Kevin will be there, and they're not going to stay fired, right? Like, so here's the thing. They get their jobs back if they win. So that comes like a hell of high water scenario. The match does have rules, so somebody can do something sneaky and still save face. Somebody could pull something or do something. On the flip side of that, Kevin and Sammy can just always just go to Raw, right? The caveat is that they can't come back to SmackDown. They could go wreck shop at NXT for a couple of months before they set up the Raw. Make it real interesting. But I don't know. I'm going to say Daniel Bryan and Shane win because you just can't go against that. Shane is in this match because Shane is going to go in there and get the hell kicked out of him. For however long this match goes, Shane is going to take a beating. But he's going to figure a way out of it. And Daniel's going to get that hot tag. And the place is going to go bananas. And, like, I don't think you could mess that up after that. So, yeah. And I was thinking, like, it's WrestleMania. Babyfaces kind of win anyway, right? So, there's that. Cesaro and Sheamus will take on Braun Strowman and the mystery partner. Honestly, the most interesting thing about this match is who the hell's going to be the mystery partner? I've got like 3 suggestions. Chris Jericho. Why? Just because I like to speculate. Even though I think Fozzie's on tour somewhere. 2, Samoa Joe. Now, this could be real. Samoa is supposed to be coming back from that injury sometime soon. And those two would be dominant forces. Now, then also you can play some tag team tension because then there would be this who's the man on this tag team? And they'll figure that out later. And they can have some tension against each other. And I mean, that'd be the only way they lose the belts because who the hell would beat that team? Like, it'd be a hard sell making like a case of some upstart tag team to knock off those guys if they got together. 3, Elias. Elias has been tied to Strowman for the past couple of months. They've had their little feud. Strowman has beat up Elias in various events, but he may have developed some kind of respect for him and could use him as a partner. So I'm not going to scrap the idea that it could be Elias. Either way, I think Cesaro and Sheamus are coming off the belts at WrestleMania. I think they lose those. So that happens. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, the dream match. The first rematch of these two titans since Wrestle Kingdom. Was it 11 in New Japan? Wrestle Kingdom 10. It was for the IC title, of course. This time it's for the WWE Championship. AJ has been carrying this belt. AJ Styles, hands down, was probably the MVP of 2017. Does he continue that run, or does Nakamura upset it? This is hard. Nakamura's a Royal Rumble winner. Nakamura, I think, has been slated to... When he came here, we knew he had a shot at being a champ. Does he beat AJ and beat AJ the first time around at WrestleMania? Is the question. This one I'm confused. I don't say I'm confused. I just don't know. Like, I can make a case of why you should, but it's like, then it's like, well, why interrupt the run? But I'm going to say Shinsuke beats AJ. I think AJ doesn't be on SmackDown any longer. I think because he's had the run that he's had, I think they're going to move him back to the flagship. I think Nakamura will take this match. Your new WWE champion, and the violins will play. So that leads us to the main event. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. For all intents and purposes, we all believe that Brock Lesnar will be done at the end of this match with his WWE commitments, and that he will focus on getting back to the UFC. Brock could be using that for leverage. Brock likes using leverage. It's one of the reasons why he has a contract that he does, where he's paid so much and it has to show up so little. I think he also likes that. But Brock is not a guy 100% motivated by money, because he could probably make more money doing different things. I think he likes the idea of being the baddest man on the planet. I think he likes the idea of being like one of the most dangerous people alive. I think the UFC reestablishes that. I think he looks at the heavyweight division in the landscape of the UFC and thinks, I'll get myself back in shape. I can run through these dudes. The diverticulitis is not a thing anymore. I don't think. So, I think he's ready to go back and try to do this. I don't know how he's going to work around the suspension, or if the suspension is over as far as like him and tested positive and all that stuff, or if there was a suspension, or how that's going to factor. But if he leaves now, he probably wouldn't fight for another 6 months. So he get a fight camp together and get himself rocking. Who knows? Roman is the present, right? Like, he's the guy who, he's supposed to be the next Cena for all intents and purposes. And I don't mean that. Right now, I think they have determined he's going to be the man. For better or for worse. He beat Undertaker last year. So if we put together the idea of the streak of him beating Taker, him having a victory over John Cena in a big match, then follow that to WrestleMania. He beats Brock Lesnar, who's clearly been like this monster of dominant force, and the guy that they had that broke the Undertaker streak and basically pummeled John Cena out of the main event at one point. Like, that's where we are. I don't think you take all that goodwill and flush it. I think this is the guy, in theory, that you are going to go with. I don't always agree. But if this is where the money land, this is where the money land. And I don't know what the merch sales look like. I don't know what... I know Roman's a polarizing figure. But this is where it can be analogous to John Cena. Hey, dudes 18 to 35 may not dig this guy. But if kids between the ages of like 6 and 15 dig him, or 4 and 15 or whatever, and the parents like him and hey man, that's what it's gonna be. So I think it's an easy start. I think Roman walks away with the belt. I don't think he walks away with Paul Heyman, because I've heard that suggested, and sure, he can use somebody with that kind of mic talent, but I think Roman works as a strong, silent type, and I think Paul also probably is not going to do this without Brock. I think this is more of like about him and Brock's friendship than it is about the money. Also, I think he likes that schedule, where Roman, you would be talking about a schedule that is a lot different, because Roman's going to be there every week. And there's no need to have an advocate that ain't going to be there every week. Because I don't think Paul wants to do this every week. I think Paul likes being Paul. With that being said, that's it for WrestleMania. Hall of Fame, I heard, was interested. I'm going to watch it a little later. One of the things, I think the themes of the night was Owen Hart, and hopefully they figure that out. But with that being said, we are going to close this thing down, and we will be back next week, and we will recap all of this. So be ready. One show next week. Peace.